Back in 2009, John Edward Johns got trapped upside down in a 10-inch wide claustrophobically narrow cave passage for 27 hours. When this story went public, it shocked the world. The adventure that started off as a simple and fun caving trip suddenly turned into any human's worst nightmare. After this incident, the cave system was sealed off with concrete forever. And this is that horrifying story. Viewer discretion is advised. It was November 2009. John and his family visited a cave in Utah. Nutty Putty Cave, that's what they call it. A real complex and risky cave system. Lots of people have been drawn to its dark and twisty passages over the years. Even though John was a pretty experienced caver just like his brother Josh, he hadn't been on a caving trip in years because 1. He was in medical school and 2. He was a family man. He was married and he and his wife had a daughter. But during Thanksgiving, John wanted to try caving again. He thought giving Nutty Putty Cave a try would be awesome. It's dark and scary looking. However, he did not realize how dangerous it could actually be. Nutty Putty Cave's narrow passages like Helmet Eater, Scout Eater and Birth Canal are no joke. 6 cavers had been trapped inside them before. In fact, in 2006, the cave got closed down because it was simply too risky. People kept getting stuck and needed rescuing. But still, since lots of people wanted to explore it, 3 years later in May 2009, the caving organization Timpanogos Grotto made a way for people to reserve spots online. They let only one group in at a time. Even though some people managed fine and got out in one piece, others got stuck and needed help. So the authorities thought this is not gonna work. We need cavers with knowledge and training to guide people through the cave. So they made a rule that each group must have 2 experienced cavers. Luckily, the Johns brothers were ready to take it on because they were 2 avid cavers. John may be a little rusty as he hadn't been in a cave in some time, but still both he and Josh had been caving since they were little. While parts like the big room were easy and safe to explore, the real challenges were, like I said, the Helmet Eater or Birth Canal, which has a steep 70-foot drop. Even pro cavers find it difficult to get through these risky sections of the cave. But all in all, despite all the challenges, Nutty Putty Cave became so famous, and it attracted people from all around the world before everything changed in 2009. It happened on a cold Tuesday just before Thanksgiving. John and his family went into the cave without knowing what might happen. They were exploring like usual when they decided to split up to find the Birth Canal. Like I said before, it is one of the more tricky, risky and narrow passages, not to mention the 70-foot drop that goes straight into the earth. John and his brother found it first, and guess what? They wanted to explore it. So first, John entered and started making his way further into the passage. He couldn't crawl for too long before ending up in a part of the tunnel that nobody had mapped. He didn't realize it right away, but as he went deeper into the tunnel, he quickly realized that there isn't enough space for anyone to even take a full breath of air, let alone explore and map. So it made sense to him as to why this part has never been mapped before, because it's damn near impossible. He tried to go back further, but he couldn't move. The passage has gotten so small that he got stuck. The only direction he could go was forward, but that would take him even deeper into the tunnel. However, he cannot just stay stuck too, right? He had to move somewhere. So he had no choice but to crawl forward into the tunnel. Soon enough, he saw what looked like a bigger opening ahead of the tunnel. He hoped it would help him get out, or at least somehow turn around and crawl back upward. However, all this was simply turning into a fatal mistake. Crawling deeper into a tunnel in a cave that is already way too narrow for a human to even move was way too reckless and risky. As an experienced caver, he should have known that, but unfortunately when you are in a real life or death situation like John was in, you tend to make decisions influenced by fear, anxiety and panic. That's human nature. So he got stuck, hanging upside down at a steep angle. John knew he should try to keep it together, but as time went on, he lost hope. After all, he was trapped in complete darkness. While all this was happening, his brother Josh tried to help in every way he could imagine, but quickly he was out of options. He thought about going in to help John, but at the same time, he knew he could make the same mistake and get stuck. That was the last thing they wanted to happen. So he realized he cannot free John, at least not alone. After the two brothers talking with each other and evaluating their situation, they knew they needed real help from pro rescuers. So Josh decided to take off to get help while John hung in there in that deadly tunnel, being squeezed from every direction. After a little while, John was able to get the message to people outside, including the rest of their family. The first one to get to John was a local rescuer. Her name was Susie. She got there at midnight. By that point, John was absolutely desperate to get out. Susie tried many things to get him out, but it was impossible to be done by just one rescuer. So she and John had to wait for more help. As time went on, things got worse. John has been hanging upside down for 3 hours as of this point. Not in complete physical pain, but it was unbearably uncomfortable for him to even breathe. So in a way, that is just as agonizing. Around this time, finally, a bunch of rescuers arrived at the birth canal. They tried many ideas like looping walls, drilling rocks, but the cave passage was too tight and John's position was tricky. Tools didn't fit, only a small and thin rescuer could maneuver, and only one person could get closer to John at once, making it tougher. Time passed, frustration grew, and they had fewer options. With John trapped, it was simply a race to rescue him. As the rescue went on, John got worse. Hanging upside down for hours was tough on him physically and mentally. Breathing got harder, and his heart had to work extra hard. Think about it, his body is hanging upside down, and his heart, or rather the blood flow, has to go against the grain to supply blood for the rest of his body. It also raises blood pressure and slows your heartbeat. Something like that weakens your body rapidly. Even though John knew what to do, he started to panic again even more this time, because at this point, he knew he was simply staring at death right in the eyes. The rescuers had a hard decision to make. Bending him could hurt his legs, so they needed a new solution. But first, they figured out a way for his wife to talk to him, which calmed him down a little and helped the whole situation. Eventually, they came up with an idea to use a pulley system to pull John out, even though it could hurt him like hell. It was slow, but they gradually made progress. Not too long went by after that. It took a dark turn when the rope snapped and hurt Ryan, the rescuer that was able to get closest to John at the time. They didn't let that stop them though. Almost immediately, they gave it another shot. But same thing happened again and again, and John slid further into the dark tunnel. Ryan's dad, who was also a rescuer, tried to fix the pulley, but that didn't work at all. And then, a little while after that, John simply stopped responding and he had a heart attack. Rescuers talked about what to do next and feared John might be already gone. Sadly, they were right. He was declared dead at 11:56 on November 25th in 2009. Despite working for 27 hours without stopping, the rescuers had to leave without saving him. They couldn't even recover the corpse because John was way too deep inside the birth canal. Despite the sheer effort and bravery of these rescuers, it was too dangerous to try anything else to get John's body from the cave. After this incident, Nutty Putty Cave was closed off forever to keep others safe. No one wanted to see another poor soul go through the same terrors and agony that John had to endure in his last moments. John's family put up a plaque at the cave entrance to remember him. You could see that to this day. This tragic story just goes to show you that we humans are not meant to get too comfortable in habitats that are not meant for us, such as underwater and underground environments like this cave system. Alright guys, we have come to the end of this story. Thank you everybody for watching, and I will see you soon with another story. Until then, stay safe out there and goodbye.